We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional land of the Noongar people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Noongar people as the traditional custodians of the Noongar region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Noongar people today.
Grateful wisdom to provide good governance for the District Council of Mount Remarkable in the service of our community. Members will stand in silence in memory of those residents who have passed away since the last meeting. Those being Margaret Blanche Whiskey, formerly of Melrose, Robert Bruce Jolly, formerly of Waterbury Centre, Ben Babington, formerly of Warabra, and those who have made the supreme sacrifice in the service of the country at sea, on land, and in the air. Let's be together. Do we have anybody online?
There's plenty of council guests.
Thank you. I declare the meeting open at 6:03. Welcome to everybody, council administration staff in the gallery. Waiting for the business of the administrative matters. 1.1, apologies. Also, 1.2, leave of absence, there was nil. 1.3, conflict of interest. If any of the members have any conflict of interest in the agenda, there was nil. 1.4, confidential provisions. If any of the members seek to discuss any of the agenda items, being nil. At 1.5, previous meeting minutes. 1.5, meeting account 16 September 2025. We've got a motion in front of us. Do I have a mover for that? You speak to that?
No.
Further questions or debate on that? No. Those in favour? Carry. Excuse me. 1.5.2, special meeting of council 13 October 2025. Minutes of special meeting of council held on 13 October 2025. Taken as read and confirmed. Do I have a no further questions or debate? All those in favour? Carry. One 1.6, the action list. Council receives and notes that report. A good list of progress. We have a mover for 1.6. Second. Further questions on debate on that? No, the vote. Carried. 1.7, defer the agenda items. Rules. 2, presentations, petitions and deputations. 3, reports of committees and regional subsidiaries. Committees and general report 2024 25. 2 parts to the motion.
I only had 12 months, as I said, reevaluation, and sort of bit of providing what you thought. Now it was tracking.
The annual report,
Yeah, well, the whole thing,
the audit.
all it was, the whole.
Okay.
The group was performing, that was worthwhile.
Okay. Well, first, the audit committee was mandated by the Act. But picking up on what you were talking about, I think the audit committee has functioned very well considering some of the challenges we've had to deal with. On the turn over the pages, there's another surprise out there. Some of those we've managed to get through ourselves, and some of those we've actually put out there to work through with the communities and also through the chamber. We've had a number of conversations out there which have been challenging, looking at and going back as far as I had to go to the community and tell them we were looking at 4% rate increases to the point now where we're looking at something very different in our long-term financial plan. That has been part of that process, and hard decisions, long decisions that this chamber has made. The audit committee has been very strong in the leadership and input to the general governance and also the budget and financial controls around that. That has also overseen the change from having external support for our accounting and external service fee provision back to now having that all in-house by people that live locally. So that has been a big body of work, making sure people are brought up to the system and the skilled, and also our systems had to be updated dramatically because they were somewhat declining. So that has all been done, and great work to all of us. Personnel have actually gone through that. So the audit risk committee, we've just had a change in that, and so we've got a member who's now going to be, or is now the chairperson of that. He's a very active, proactive, and visual on, and his passion in life is governance and local government, and practices on a daily basis. And we've got a new member who does exactly the same thing. He brings a wealth of experience, knowledge, and skills across the whole governance and the financial sector. So I think that that's actually led us to a very good position from here on. Challenge, but we've got that answer your question.
Just add me to the report that we're just referring to, page 46. Got a message from the chairperson, which was John Connery. It's not a long summary, but it's very positive, and he sums up what's happened very simply in his report. And it's worth a read.
It is, most definitely. Okay. That answers your questions. Councillor Kelly, you don't wish to speak to that any further? Sorry. No further questions or debate on that point? Then vote, all those in favour? Carried. I haven't do that report. 3.2, Northern York LGA annual report 2025 and quarterly financial statements. There are two parts to that. One noting that we received another report because we're not the authors of that. I feature from that, resigning on that audit risk committee, etc. And that we adopt the Northern York LGA annual report for inclusion in the council annual report, which is mandated 2024-25. Do I have a motion?
Probably a bit like Councillor Notta, just how do you feel this is going now compared to how it was the others?
The chasm as well as the Sydney Harbour.
Yeah.
I'd say we're probably about 3/4 of the way across. So it is very significant change. It was a function that didn't function. And I must tell you, I've been very good at this function. 16 years, and I think So most of you really know what's going on. We're not driving forward change, and we're not instrumental in managing and driving up aspects of things that need to be done with representative councils. That will LGA know, because that's what they're there for. But very much more involved with that. We've since changed the CEO, that's part of the problem, a large part. And we've done a proper annual business plan and budget and a long-term view of what that organisation should be doing. The CEO has tidied it up much like some of the things we've done here. A few rocks, we found lots of dinosaurs and crocodiles under there. They have now been fixed. Then we now have an executive committee, so rather than 16 mayors out there all fluffing around, we actually have 4 or 5 that make decisions. It has its own audit risk committee, which is and it is functioning quite well. There's room to go. So that's a good question. Any further questions or debate on the topic? Right, all those in favour? Carried. Just to add to that, we're now getting the money that we pay annually, we're getting it. I was not happy with that reason.
Let's continue.
We have 4 reports. 4.1, the Chief Executive Officer quarterly update. Thanks for receiving the most of the report. And a second questions or debate on that report? The vote, all those in favour, carried. 4.2, Milk and Natural Environment quarterly update. That's received. Have a mover. You saw the penny. I just saw the penny. I wasn't sure. Okay. Now do I have a second?
Just to say, I was really pleased going up to the bus. I think the signage is positive and it would be a tourism attractor. I can see people taking their photos with it, so I think that's just a good accent. And please about the Roaring Island and the shared because I think that's something that's taken time to come and that should be something that they can base on growth and great that all the good is been completed on budget or under budget things. So great.
Yeah, excellent. No, that's a very important point. Things are not in time and in budget. But it should be. Not having time to use another money as well as state government does. Thank you, Councillor Mr.
And if I could just add to the bluff talking about signage, I know that it's appropriate here that we include that we had the presence of the governor to cut the ribbon and open it last week. Is this where we should include that or in another section?
We can make that in here.
We actually compile this prior to the event, so that's why I didn't get the visitors talking about.
Okay. We'll certainly the whole visit and the outcome of that, I think, should be subject to a
In the next meeting. Yes.
Thank you.
Just with the signage, the plaque issue that comes under signage, brought your attention that the previous mayor said that opening plaque, that the open bluff was stolen. Said, brought it up. Still has been done, or was it still in the process of being replaced?
It has been replaced.
You saw me on Sunday and said it had been.
Yes, I told it. I thought it had been stolen and he said to me, "Oh, I put my name on it."
Yeah.
That's been some stuff.
So thank you. There's no further questions or debate on that report. That's all those in favour. Carried. 4.3, community and corporate quarterly update. Council received the links and report. Council Noel. Council Noel. Is there any further questions or debate on that report? No, all those in favour, carried. 4.4, 2025-26 budget review 1. Council received a notice of report. Second part of that, adopt the budget review 1 and approve the recommended budget amendment. So do I have an amendment? Second. Right. Council Come. The questions will debate on this. But we're moving budget. It's clear that we're both parts of that. The second both parts of that. Debate, everyone's in favour. Four point five, business continuity plan, operational document. Our organisation is safe and functional, should there be any sort of interruption, so it really is an operational document. There are two parts to that. We received the monthly report and adopt the draft business continuity. Councillor Moffat, thank you. Second. Councillor Evans, thank you. Further questions or debate on 4.5? Nil, thank you. I'll put that in the vote. All those in favour? That is a really good document. I can't believe that this organisation did that. Okay, 4.6, draft internal financial controls manual. What is our financial controls internally? Through all of that. And there's also been through the two parts that received a monthly report, including the adopted draft internal financial as presented as attached to the 11.
I mean, yeah, that it's been sanctioned by the order of this committee in our agenda. Fully support.
No further questions or debate on 4.6? The vote, all those in favour? Carried. 4.7, review council members' allowances and benefits policy. Does not mean to contain
Don't think you can this month.
that.
Payroll this
I don't know,
month.
do
And annually, every November.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Yeah, okay. We'll take that. As long as it's as big as the Prime Minister's one.
Yes, that's right.
And 4.7, review council members' allowances and benefits policy. That is really all about the functions and how it's claimed, and how it's used to cross-reference and make sure that everybody's doing the right thing, claiming the right thing, and etc. So there are two parts to that. Steve monthly report, adopt the draft council members' allowance and benefits policy, 8.401 as amended and presented as attachment 1 to this report, which I must is a mandate. It's not something we saying. I move it for 4.7. Have a second. You don't have insights to how big the pay was. It's about 8.1%, isn't it?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Is there any further questions or debate on 4.7? Let the vote, all those in favour? Carried. 4.8 confidential provisions amendment, community assistance grants 2025-26, and 14 previously, there was just a slight omission in foundation has been picked up and addressed in this motion here. There's nothing more to that, it's just housekeeping. There are two parts to that, I'm not going to read all that out. Understood. And we'll second. Speak to that. Any further questions or debate on that one? Vote, thank you. Carried. 4.9, fire prevention and preparedness, 2025. 169. I might just take the line off of that. So that's just essentially most of the report. Very timely considering the conversation we're having about grass and just recently. So that 4.9, do I have a move for that? Thank you. So second, Councillor Keller. Councillor Should you respect that? Councillor Keller.
Yes, please, me. It's a good plan that's been put together, and as a result of probably the bushfires of Wilmington beginning of this year, it's good to see that this plan is in place. Earlier we spoke about the fire season, so we're all aware of that. It hasn't been declared yet by CFS. Just with this plan that you've got, there it's expected that staff will inspect and test the equipment fortnightly. Has it been currently tested and ready to go?
Through the chair, yes, it has, council. That was implemented prior to writing this. And that's every second Thursday, I have half the team away. So that's that Thursday, so it's really getting done sometime possibly, making sure that it's full when it starts, that it's pressurised reader on. So yes, I think it is happening right now.
Very good.
Thank you. It's very encouraging. Absolutely. There are a whole range of things out there which, government don't want. That if there is an emergency situation where your equipment is placed at certain strategic points, etc., I anticipate, as in conversations with Region 4, that we will continue to help out where we can, but we will not be doing that with the national parks. We do grass fire. We do all those things that we can to help see fire, put out fire. That's simple. Thank you. If there's no further questions or debate on 4.9, put that to the chamber. All those in favour? Carried. Girls coming in the road, simple things are actually done well all the time.
Mayor, can I request that motions and questions with regards to the agenda was lost?
Why?
Well, because it suits me. It doesn't help me the way it is.
Really? Well, that's the rationale why that would make any difference.
I want to make a motion after I've spoken. And ask the question.
You make a motion that notice.
Yeah.
You either have that as part of our normal protocols and the manager of this process could do that.
That's not a serious one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I would, but it's got away from.
Right. If there's no mischief in it, I'll entertain. Sorry. All right, so what you're suggesting would be reverse order.
And you want to ask a question before I make the motion.
Been a bit cute there, Councillor.
It's always.
Put that in the chamber, everybody comfortable with that? Yeah. Doesn't say me, I'll deal with it. Okay, questions without names. Questions without names. This is a
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's just about Citizen of the Year awards. Have we got any feedback or information, how many nominations we've had so far?
I haven't talked with Jerry, that's okay.
Yes.
So the nominations go straight to the Australian Day Council and they come back to us at the end of the nomination period. Sometimes we can do a nomination direct, but electronic nominations go to the Australian Day Council manages them and they then farm them out to each of the appropriate councils.
So you don't know how many nominations you've got at this stage?
No, that's correct.
How far away are we from likely nomination?
I think it's the 16th of November that nominations close. So we've still got a fair period of time. And we'll continue to do posts through social media. What we've also done this year, where we're not everybody accesses social media for information, is each of the post offices in the town put 5 physical nomination forms on the post office counter, hoping that that's the one spot in each town that people will go to, and I'll send a nomination form and pick one up and take it home and complete it. I think the difficulty is probably every year is we all might think someone would be a perfect applicant, but it's about someone taking that next step and putting that application to nominate or going online to nominate. So yeah, it is difficult getting a large number of nominations.
Okay. That's right?
Yeah.
Very cool, okay. So, are there any other questions on that?
I do have another one, but I don't think it's an issue, but just to disclose that, I haven't heard a thing that's supposed to be done in 25. Haven't heard a word, is it? Are they coming or are they been or?
They've been for their first pull through of information with Martin and his teams. They go away and then they'll buy just that and then come up with all the tricky questions that they can work out, etc. My understanding is that they've actually provided some acknowledgement of how well organised they are compared to some of the experiences that they've had. But they are in control of that process and they will tell us.
Oh, I just thought we would
Yeah, no,
have, as councillors, we would have heard.
well, we can tell you, but there's nothing to tell.
We were told something, you might have been
I-
told it, we were.
Might have been one on leave, but we did provide that bit of information.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that was back in July, so that, in that back.
Yes, it was. So we are fortunate, the rest of us don't have the luxury of swanning around the country.
I think it was long service, right?
Yes, sorry, can I talk to them? So just, Councillor, going back to the Citizen of the Year Award, so I suppose another question would be, as elected members, are you all out there talking to people or encouraging other people to make nominations as well? That's certainly, we're certainly looking to you for assistance to try and get that word out as well. Is there anything that you think that I can do to help you in that process?
So with this is one to the Australian Day Council. The council does its own system. Don't this wasn't that the issue.
No, they're all through the Australian Day Council. They're all Citizen of the Year awards, and there's 4 or 5 different categories.
Yeah, but all of those, because we got nominations last year,
So they're the Citizen of the Year awards.
not the Australian Day, not using
No, it's the same. It's one and the same.
Yeah.
But it's initiated by the Australian Day Council. Yes, so they manage part of the process for local government.
Then it comes back to the local governmental process.
Yeah.
So
And
we still go through the same process.
I wouldn't be able to advise at this stage if I didn't know of nominations because we're not at that stage yet. So that information isn't available to be able to know that. Yeah. So yeah, I just like wanted to remind you always elected members if you can certainly try to get that word out as well.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions without notice?
Don't worry, I'm not finished yet.
Okay, well, that's all good. No further questions without notice? Right, thank you. I'll move on to 5.3 questions with notice. There are none. 5.2 motions without notice. Councillor. Okay. Any other questions, motions without notice?
Well, the council will take first then.
I'm asking the question. Not. Any further questions? Motion on that notice. Councillor Tate, please proceed.
And then, so I received a request for a motion with notice, but it was too late for the with notice. So I'm doing it as a motion without notice on behalf of Michael Will. Michael. So Michael sent me what he proposed as the motion, but I'll give you his proposal and then my motion to that proposal. So the motion was recognising that Wilmington's parkland contains areas of critically endangered peppermint box grassy woodland worthy of conservation, and that the Native Vegetation Council has grants available to support council and the community in managing these lands. One, council resolves to apply to the Native Vegetation Council to place heritage agreements on section 537, 548 and 64500 of Wallopra to enable grant funding application and ensure the protection of these areas in perpetuity. Two, the council urgently submit a native restoration grant application to the Native Vegetation Council for section 64500 Wallopra, which closes on 8th of November 25, and follow up with heritage agreement incentive grant applications for section 537 and 54800 Wallopra. For recognising grazing is a major contributor to degradation of peppermint box grassy woodlands, council resolves not to cancel the grazing leases with Wilmington. Resolves to cancel the grazing lease with Wilmington Tennis Club on section 64500 of Wallopra, and for the council amends the community land management plan by creating new classification of conservation reserves and adding section 537 and 548 and 64500 of Wallopra to this classification with appropriate management objectives and actions. So my motion is that council receives and notes the requested proposal, and that conduct an on-site inspection of the said lands, being sections 537, 548 and 64500 of Wallopra. Three, that council provides elected members with relevant data and statistics in relation to peppermint box grass and woodlands, critical endangered status, effects of grazing on the woodlands. Or that we conduct a community consultation in relation to the proposal, and 5, notes the results of any community consultation and that they be brought forward the next ordinary meeting following the close date of the community consultation. So that's my motion. So hopefully we'll all understood that.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
And you provided a copy of that.
I've provided a copy of that.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, I'm not going to take the motion. I'm going to give you the rationale for that, which I parked earlier. And that is, this is not because we won't or don't want to do anything. There's a whole lot of things at play here, so I'll go through what I've written up for record. And so that a lot of people take away, this is not, we won't do something. So the rationale for not taking the motion, 16 July 2024, agenda was the Board Advisory Council would undertake further report outlining the process to be undertaken to do those works. This is in train and has been since that time. Initially, Council has conversed with the original specialist who provided a report 2014, not been able to be progressed since. Further to this, Council is in consultation with Julie, seeking their advice as to an appropriate specialist and insight into work undertaken by Julie in this area. A range of work concurrently is being undertaken to consider Council's conservation and land management priorities. This is budgeted for annual training. Additionally, collation of land and structures, asset management plan is being finalised. Very important and large body of work. This will be reviewed by council to determine appropriate land use, asset life, use of agreements, land in care and control, and any assets that can be rationalised subject to consultation at that time. Once completed, council will be better informed to make decisions. Some of the land suggested for conservation has long-term tenure associated with it, and council has to consider the wider community aspect. Conservation and heritage have constantly perpetuity, that they need to be determined. Council has a responsibility to consider the whole community, not just areas in isolation, and any actions also impact on the long-term financial plan, to which there has been considerable effort, balance, and strong financial management. Decision is put in place to move council into a favourable position, not to make short-sighted decisions. Council will continue to work through all of the above information, which will ultimately be provided through community consultation process. We acknowledge Mr. Wood's passion for this proposal, and he has been advised in the process throughout the CEO. Whilst we do not have a date at this point to consider all of this important whilst we do not have a date at this point to consider all of this, this is important and is in constant of the management and council. So when we actually get to put all of those things together in the future, we will be in a better position, as I said earlier, to make a better, smarter decision across the whole of council, and we will then also be better financially prepared for those on costs that need to be done. So it is important, and we do acknowledge the heritage aspect of heritage aspect of what is trying to be achieved here. There are a number of things in place. So that's my rationale for not having a motion like this evening. So, but it is not, we're not doing it. It's just it's a big body of work. Okay. Councillor Long, do you have a motion for that notice?
I do believe
Do you have that prepared for meditate books? Do you have that prepared for a minute?
No. Sorry.
We'll define suitable function.
Okay. Yeah, it's just about Citizen Year Awards. That's why I want to ask a question first. Really find out a lot. David, well, this is my 9th year, progressively got disappointed year after year in the last few years now. And a lot of response. And just don't seem to be getting anywhere with social media and websites and everything, don't seem to be making much difference. So I've suggested for a number of years that we should go try cash classifieds. And for whatever reason, council decided that they want to run with that. So I thought, well, we'll make a motion. We'll give it 1 year and try, and it doesn't work, I'll tell you. But I'll move the motion that the council engage with cash classifieds promoting the Citizen Year Awards for a 2-week period, which means ASAP for a 2-week period before the 16th of November. So probably need to be a few days before the 16th. So a fortnight back from there. So eventually probably started for November, 1st of November for a fortnight. But we have a series of these promotions and cash classifieds and see if it makes any difference. So I'm just very disappointed with the number of nominations we've been getting for the last quite a few years.
Good. I have spoken to at least 30 people, as council said just a while ago, that yes, that's a great idea, we should nominate this person. Who's going to do the work? Mayor comes on that. it's like being an elected member, everybody wants to do it and etc., but then they actually don't come to do it. So I'm not saying we don't do it, but that, I've run into that when I went to across the whole council area. We had, you know, well, this person should be nominated, you're going to fill out the forms for them, right? So that's one of the issues that we run into. So we just need to come up with what that motion would look like.
I'll just write down briefly from what you're saying, councillor Noddle, that council engaged with cash classifiers, promoting the Citizen of the Year awards for a 2-week period before, and rather than we say 16th of November, I'll need to confirm that before the closing date for nominations, maybe?
Well, that's the 16th.
Yeah, okay, and I've just said the 16th off the top of my head, I need to confirm that.
Well, it's no good to advertising right up to the 16th, and then it's better off to have this in case it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, indeed. So we should need to do the date right. All that.
Can I ask, what would the cost be?
Oh, we'll come to that.
Yeah, well, I believe it's enough, but I don't know. I can't tell you what it is, but I've been told every year it's, $2 billion. I think we just need to try once.
I agree.
But I think we need to know the cost first before we
Well,
make a commitment.
well,
I think it would be a fairly affordable sort of cost for cash classifiers because people do it themselves.
It's actually-
Individuals do it
it
as
is.
well as a business.
So these are actually reasonably expensive. I didn't put it last year.
no, we didn't do it.
Didn't say we.
Oh,
I
okay.
said I did.
No, you did it.
We could
We'll look at the cost. So,
do we want to put in there an authority up to say $500? We could put a monetary amount in the motion.
No, we don't know whether 500, which is different.
no, exactly. That's what we're talking about.
Well, I think it's worth a bit more than that.
Well, this is a problem with not being
Well, that's
consistent.
what, yeah, well,
I understand your passion for it. We
I,
do need to be prepared. So just you look it up on this.
Where are cash classifieds on? Do people even pay it?
Very few.
7 o'clock,
So,
7 o'clock,
Oh, those ones
Oh,
on
wait,
TV.
yeah.
One for people watching at home.
Yeah. Watch.
Well,
That's what I'm- If you don't get it, he said, it's gonna make a difference. People have to be watching.
well,
So you pay free TV.
well, I'm just trying to get support it or not. Like I was saying, previously, my mother was blind, she can't see anything, she can't read anything, but she can hear the TV. And
She just told you on that.
Yeah. Just bear with me just for a few minutes. I'll suspend standing at the moment. Just have to do, because otherwise we can't continue business. So, I propose we suspend standing for 5 minutes. Everybody in favour? Gary?
So, yeah, reason why I'm not organising. All about recently, and then we'll still wait for the agenda, and we'll come back to next meetings, and it's all over by the next meeting.
Did any of our streets community members know that it was due any, so I didn't know. On the council, did you all know? Have you put nominations in yet?
Did you say you didn't know it?
No, I have no idea.
You don't need to have a major email.
I missed that email, obviously. I don't recall about it, maybe.
Oh, so you saw the form in the post office? Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm sure I sent an email out to everybody. You may, yeah.
So they don't know.
No. Where do you put it? 'Cause I'm happy to put it in other places other than social media.
Well, I'm just wondering how many elected members have actually been out handing out papers.
Well, obviously not me, because I didn't even know.
So how much are you prepared to spend? Well, this is difficult to find.
Well,
500 is not enough.
no, well, I don't.
So how much are you prepared to spend? Sorry?
You don't get anything.
They won't even entertain talking to you.
No.
This is why we need to be prepared. So what are you proposing?
No.
Spending public money here, we need to be careful. Can't believe the hardest is to find.
I would have said more than a couple of thousand.
Oh.
You get serious?
I don't know if it's valuable.
I reckon if we can't convince people by going around and talking, we're probably not gonna,
Yeah.
I mean, I can even get people to put their hand up to be councillors. So
Yeah.
Well,
that's
that's a big deal.
pretty important.
Any other first one?
143.
800.
30 seconds. 500.
Yes, you did. I did get it.
We've never been with the other ones.
Yeah, well, I was saying a few we could pick from, not just the automatically put them in. Well, that was 1,000.
So there's no link. Oh, it's on there.
All right, look, I think it's very difficult to work out what the cost is going to be. When I did inquire last year, I was surprised at the amount of money. So I think.
I have to say, I question value for money. What we get is returned, like a couple of $1,000, I do not believe.
No, it was 7,000.
Even 1,000, I think that's a lot of money, and I suppose we can try to see it. But really, do you really think that we'll get any difference?
Well, I would like to think we would.
Just bear with me on the right motion for this.
Other councils have done it for years.
There's another councils,
Rich,
they've got a different. Guys are coming out there. They are really naughty and not viable. We are not going to do that.
Can we nominate ourselves or not as councillors? I don't mean nominate ourselves, nominate others.
Elected members.
Can elected members nominate the community?
And that's the idea of the
Because I
process.
thought I got told that, we were allowed to do that.
I personally wouldn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
I would encourage others to do
It'll be a conflict of interest, you couldn't be, you wouldn't be able to vote on it.
At the
No.
It'll
time,
be a conflict of interest.
at the time that the
No.
report comes to council, if
You have to declare that you did a nomination.
you can actually make a nomination as councillors if you feel that you disagree with the nominations put forward or they aren't sufficient. You, as the elected members, can make a nomination there on the spot for somebody who you. So yeah,
You know that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm
What's
sure
your goal?
last year.
Sorry. I'm being flippant, sorry, Ross.
No, that's
I
okay.
appreciate that.
So that's right at the end point when you're considering the nominations, if you disagree with them or feel they aren't sufficient, you then have the ability, obviously if you've got someone worthy in mind that you're disappointed that they haven't been nominated, there would be that opportunity, as the councillors to put someone forward.
I think the young citizens always start and junior citizen. Simon, with your connections, you've done a couple of things recently with the youth. Is there anyone on the radar that you have come across that you might consider?
Yes,
I didn't realise this was quite big, I mean, this will steer it up.
Excellent, thank you.
Honestly, people, yeah.
Yeah. I'm nominating George, right?
What the citizen will need.
We use that love every time.
Any contribution?
Love.
Okay. Before we go back in, so what I've got here, council model. Across the series are classified as what council's citizen review process. Approve the CEO to determine value for money up to $1,000. Okay, these people grant where the CEO actually has to try and utilize this. Of course, you can have short task. We need to be able to move on with this. And so if you're happy with that as a motion, then I am prepared to change or for the vote. Satisfied with that? Yes. Okay, I've got that written down for me.
And it needs to be done, I reckon, a week before the ads to be completed, at least a week before the closing date. So you won't have a week.
March.
Yeah.
Right, so move back into standing orders. All those in favour? Thank you. In favour of going back into orders? Okay, so we're now back in orders. Thank you very much. So Councillor Cole, you are proposing a motion without notice to cross a series of classified ads for council citizen review process. We approve the CEO to determine value for money up to $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's your motion. Right. Do we want to suspend that or would you like to put the vote?
We need to set that.
All
And seconded?
right. Yep. No, second place. Right. Put that in vote. All those in favour? Carried. It'll be worth it, Councillor Law. I don't think it is. Okay. Done. Now you're going to have the CEO going to have to find up to that amount of money from another budget line. The budget line does not exist. Okay? Thank you. The benefit of that being known in advance would be somewhat small.
Well, it would have been. Well, we never had to spend money in
There is no spare money. This kitchen, piggy bank that sits on top of the fridge does not exist. Everything is accounted for.
one allocation of years past.
It doesn't work like that. You know that as well as I do. Anyway, we're done. Thank you. All right, we're moving on now. So, trying to get back into here. So, motion on those motions has been reached. Notice has been given. Go to 6. Now we've scrambled my brain. Members' communications is 6.1. Link member activity report September 2025. There are 2 parts of that report. Do I have a mover for 6.1? Thank you. Do I have a second to that, please? Councillor. Thank you. Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Any further questions on the vote on those reports? Thank you. I put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. We're going to move on to concerning correspondence. There are 5 parts to that motion there, for 5 pieces of correspondence. We will have a mover for 7. Thank you. You wish to speak to Councillor?
Thank you.
Councillor.
Do I speak to
Yes, sorry.
Mayor, I have a question for the Director of Built Natural Environment through correspondence. The item 7.4 refers to a letter from the Upper North Farming Systems regarding Kazania. It is a blanket letter to all the councils in the area, not just us. But the issue does has been a problem, perhaps still is a problem in our council area. This item 7.4 is a 20 pages of attachments with this letter on gazanias. And what's interesting to me is that page 326 actually gives some chemical control trials, and not as such recommendations, but they're saying trials have been done, what actually works. There's an article in the Stock Journal in recent weeks that referred to the same problem on the west coast of Streaky Basin, Journal, Woodman, 4 councils over there. They sort of got together, I understand, with land care grants, that sort of thing, to control the gazanias. In our agenda, there's a photo of them at Black Rock, just south of Orroroo, and you'd have to say there's a problem if you just looked at that photo, the amount of flowers in the photo. Now, I'll commend council for the work that they've done in our townships, particularly wherever Orroroo. The last couple of years on gazania, the control has been brilliant. And, you know, it's limited to just a few spot fires outside the town or in certain areas. Now, I myself have put a regular CSR in for 10 Dowry Road or Reserve every year. I've got a concern that I don't want those gazanias getting in the Rocky River watercourse. Now, I come across old plants up against the top of the hills. How they get there, I don't know. So they do spread. The last thing I want to see is in a watercourse in our council area. But it came to my attention when we came back from the Bluff last week. There was a lot flowering from the forest headquarters back to Arabra. My question for Dave is that part of their council's control, those road signs? And, you know, is there funding available for gazania control that we can use, or if you can just highlight what your program is?
Through Chair. Thanks, Councillor. 2 parts to that answer to your question will be, look, this is a noxious weed as well, though, very hard to control. The chemicals that they mentioned here are in trials. We've had good success with Garland 500 and Miranda, which is around our towns, and that's obviously shown by its non-resistance there. There are a couple of spots, hot spots that we are aware of, we don't supply, which we need to obviously control there as well. And those the 10 road, we can just pull it up and watercourse across the whole, we'll take that on notice as far as the treatment plan. Second part of that, the answer to your question, funding, I'll have to take that on notice and we're going to know the landscape. Last year, put us on a 3-year 1-for-1 for 3 million, which we're doing now. So this is our 2nd year of that. They may have some course of action for you, which may go down studies.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay. I've just noticed that there's a lot of Salvation Jane on the side of the roads too, and paddocks full of it.
Yeah, I think perhaps, you know, I might be some years, but the little beetle has done such a tremendous job with that, probably been knocked around at dry times. It's just probably taking its time.
Yeah, it's the first, well, we've been down 3.5 years from the territory, and this is the first time I've, like, really, noticed it, like,
Okay.
around it. Yeah, on the same. Yeah.
Right. And one person talks at a time. Please. Okay. No, you're done. Yeah. Okay.
I need to know thank you. Yeah.
No, there's a few spots there. Near the right was alarm, was in forest. Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there any further questions?
Yes, we did. Yeah, just a comment on 7.4, the design list. I travelled to Melrose recently, and all the way, design was both sides of the road, the whole way. So, somebody's not doing their job.
No, as long as the council's doing their job.
Yeah, well, council's the best council. Credit. Now, 7.2, from Steve Murray has projects to submit. Is council looking at submitting projects or thinking about it? Or?
Comes up every year, and look at it, every year they want a substantial contribution. At this point in time, after conversations with the acting CEO and previous CEOs and directors, we actually do not have any immediate projects. We need to contribute significant amounts of funds of our own.
No, I think what I was going to suggest while we're reading the master plan, which I've got there, was from back many years ago, was had underground and plans and a couple of bits there on the side of the monument in the main street. One section's got piping installed, ready to go. Then all we're going to do is put the line through underneath, so they don't have to disturb it. But I know we were quoted 1.9 million years ago. So if they want money, well, that's
Through the chair, Councillor, thanks, Councillor. A lot of these programs are the 50% contribution.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the correspondence? Okay. I'll go forward. Just bear with me for a second, folks, please. Okay. Right. So, for 7.1, we have a request there in correspondence from Wellington 150 Celebration Committee regarding festivities scheduled to October 2026. Request for financial contribution from Council and Road Assistance. I'm actually proposing that we do move people in that so that they've got time to actually work what it might look like. And so what I'm proposing, and you see is a motion for the Wellington 150 correspondence. CEO to provide support consistent that provided to Woolaroo and Moorabbin 150 events. Which enables the CEO's role to do what we've done in the past. And then they know what they're doing with the British. So I'm going to put that motion up there, and we'll based on my correspondence. Do I have a second for that? Councillor, thank you. Nothing much more to talk about on that one. I think we just see how to do that. If there's no further questions, debate on that, I'll put that in debate. All those in favour? The second one was 7.5 from Ross McNeil, the Chief Executive Officer of Northern Areas Council, regarding a request for council support. Grant support rate reduction funding and a rating of energy infrastructure, which Northern Areas will do well out of. However, might help us get some return off the infrastructure that we have got. So, at this point, we would need to ask the Chamber if they're prepared to support a letter of support. So, my motion is that CEO provide a letter of support to the Northern Areas Council. Requested at 7.5. Want a question or you can hand up to support it? Okay, so if there's no questions in the way, that's pretty straightforward. No questions in the way, is there a second to that? That's Councillor Keller.
Can I just ask, with that, it's so that it's for them, not for us, that we're doing the
No, we're pushing that through MPA.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a letter of support. And so the rating for energy infrastructure comes from the recent energy provided by the independent community on the table of Parliament. energy infrastructure should be regulated.
Oh, that one, sorry, it's with that, yeah, no, it's just I was scrolling down because of the bookmark one.
Yeah, no, they don't work on it. Oh, you know?
Oh, yeah, but it hasn't reached correspondence, sorry.
So, no, so,
Yeah,
so you call that?
Yeah, yeah.
So, council concerned with that, all those in favour? Okay, so, thank you. April, welcome to the renewal. Brings us to the end of our business today. The next meeting, board meeting Tuesday, 18 November 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chamber, 365. The board will be closed at 7:07. Thank you everybody, good job, well done. Thank you to the gallery. Thank you for your participation.